Many people consider the Porsche GT3 RS to be the best car. However, it does lack one thing that could make it way better than it actually is. Don't get me wrong, it's an amazing car, but by no means perfect. Being the flagship of the 911 series, it is not the fastest top speed wise. Porsche has actually built a faster 911, which is the 911 Turbo. However, while faster in a straight line, it will get absolutely smoked in the corners. And that's because the 911 GT3 RS incorporates a lot of technology not found on any other 911. Carrying a 4-liter flat-six naturally aspirated engine, accelerating from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in about 3 seconds. It's all thanks to its lightweight construction with the use of carbon fiber pretty much everywhere. With robust aerodynamical elements giving it about 860 kilograms of downforce, it's a car not to be messed with. With a top speed of just under 300 kilometers an hour, it leaves a little bit to be desired. Even with its advanced drag reduction system found in Formula 1 cars, the car still struggles to get to 300 kilometers an hour. However, what makes this Porsche so desirable by enthusiasts is its cornering capabilities. And one of the many elements that gives this car superior cornering performance is its active aerodynamical systems, allowing the driver to choose between top speed and cornering ability by switching on DRS. It holds the fastest sports car record on the Nürburgring, which is not an easy track to drive on, and it also beats supercars in a category above its own. Now the downforce in this car sucks you to the ground and allows you to take corners at way higher speeds than you conventionally would be able to. And with its track-tuned suspension that is adjustable for both comfort and performance modes, it gives the driver a lot of mechanical grip and giving the aerodynamical element a stable platform to work effectively. Which leads us to the final element that makes the Porsche such a good car in the corners. And that is its advanced four-wheel steering system, which allows the Porsche to take corners in such a way that captivates its own drivers and people watching it. Which not only gives high-speed stability, it also gives low-speed cornering ability, further increasing its dominant performance. This four-wheel steering system allows the Porsche to take angle of attacks never seen on a sports car before, such as this, with such speed and accuracy that makes even racing drivers look and stare. It's a mix between its lightweight construction, advanced aerodynamics, and advanced four-wheel steering system, which makes the Porsche GT3 RS a force not to be reckoned with in the realm of motorsports and street racing. While many consider it perfect, it does lack one thing I desire. So let's take a step back and go back to the 1990s, where a legend was born with the missing piece that I seek in the Porsche. Welcome the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 9, which is the grandchild of the original Lancer found in the 1990s. Now Mitsubishi decided to enter rally and start competing with legends like Subaru. What made the Lancer evolution become a thing is a little rule in WRC, which required all manufacturers to make road-going versions of their rally car. Now the reason I bought the Mitsubishi Evo 9 here to compare to the Porsche is not to actually compare it. It's to look at one thing that makes the Evo special, which was active yaw control system and active center differential, which allowed the Evo to send power to any wheel desired. And that gives the Evo extreme agility and control, which allowed it to win multiple WRC championships, beating the likes of Subaru and other manufacturers, which were all very impressed with the Mitsubishi. Now, unfortunately, unlike the Subaru WRX series, the Evo is a discontinued series, which makes it a relic of the past, which makes me appreciate it even more. While the car is lacking in its stock performance, it's a tuner's favorite car to tune and build, because this car is such a reliable platform. It's a fan favorite for all tuners, with the ability to push 900 horsepower with the engine if tuned properly. Crazy builds with this car are all over the internet, and each and every one of them is even more impressive than the previous one. Now back to the active yaw control and differential systems. While making the car very easy to drive, it's still missing one piece, and that's the four-wheel steering system. Additionally, the car computer does not seem to understand what the driver is doing, so it makes it even harder to bond with the machine. Additionally, what the car computer does, it looks for the wheel that has the most grip and sends the most power to it, and then balances it all out till the car is straightened again, which is the exact opposite of what an Opel differential would do, hence why it has so much performance. However, it makes holding an all-wheel drift a little bit harder and unconventional for drivers to drive other all-wheel drive cars, and that requires extra steering input and more understanding of the car, which will be found with time. With the Evo being the respected legend it is nowhere near perfect, and most tuners have a very difficult time with the differential control system and yaw control system. However, talking about stock performance, it leaves a lot to be desired, and that welcomes our next guest. Welcome the Nissan GT-R R34, the best Skyline Nissan has to offer, which brings us one step closer in the chase of perfection. It addresses the issues of the Evo Lancer by introducing four-wheel steering system and an advanced Atassa ETS Pro all-wheel drive system, which is one thing that the Porsche is lacking, that all-wheel drive system. Now those two things makes the Nissan R34 GT-R the best car to drive, because the car itself is very dynamic and it feels like the car understands you instead of you understanding it. It responds to all driver inputs in such a smart way, and it just knows what you want to do. While also having more horsepower than the Evo, it addresses the power issues and makes it just a much better car to drive. Now, aerodynamics is not such a thing on this car, however, the car compensates by having extreme mechanical grip, not found on any other car of its age. Now, with the car being the gem of the early 2000s, the advanced all-wheel steering systems and all-wheel traction systems makes it a formidable opponent in its category, allowing the driver to manipulate the car in such a way the Porsche couldn't handle, which makes it the dominant choice in tighter tracks where top speed is a luxury you cannot afford. Now, with the Nissan GT-R being Japanese, a gentleman's agreement made it where on paper it had only 270 horsepower while having more in real life. The country has a lot of mountains which incorporate a lot of tight turns, and thanks to its advanced system that allows the driver to manipulate the car, the R32 GT-R was the first car to invent drifting, and that's go back when drivers had no grip in the car, forcing them to drift, making it the fastest way possible to drive. Now again, the R34 is a little underpowered compared to its child, the R35 GT-R. Now with near double the power and a bit more weight, the R35 is groundbreaking in terms of racing. Now with a much higher top speed in the same systems but even more advanced, the car can pull moves such as these. Which literally breaks everything I know about racing and car manipulation. Because this car just understands where I want to go and goes exactly there. It allows the bond between man and machine to become seamless, with the car achieving a much higher top speed than the Porsche and beating many supercars just as the Porsche does. Which makes the only drawbacks of the R35 GT-R Nismo none other than weight and aerodynamics, because it has insane handling characteristics and very high top speed. It is faster than the Porsche GT3 RS on tighter tracks, because of the all-wheel drive system and rear-wheel steering system. However, these advanced systems makes the car feel lighter than it actually is, which leads us to many issues. Now, because of the ability to manipulate the GT-R so easily, the car feels much lighter than it actually is, and that leads it to have more confidence on the brake. However, the car is very bad at braking. Here is the difference between the required braking distance for each car, with the R35 GT-R being the longest and the Porsche being the shortest, which makes mistakes very easy to make. And this is why the Porsche is a preferred choice on more free-flowing tracks. Because of the weight on the GT-R, mistakes like these become very easy to make and a bit difficult to avoid. Coupled with the extra top speed, it makes it even more difficult to slow down the car. Now the design of the R35 GT-R is very aggressive, but you can tell it's heavy. Now the lack of aerodynamical element and the extra weight, it makes it very difficult to corner around higher speed corners. And this is where you would have zero issues with the Porsche, while the GT-R you're expecting not to crash. However, skilled drivers like I am know what to do around the corner, and executing them properly gives me results like these, making driving this car very fun, like taking an adrenaline shot. And this is an area where the GT-R shines. In terms of fun, it's way better than the Porsche. Nothing beats the ability to taking insane drifts on every single corner, and this is exactly what the GT-R allows you to do. With the massive 1.7 tons, it honestly feels like 1.2 or less. However, once again, this trait shows its downsides. While the car allows you to control it like it's your own feet and hands, with the car being quite heavy and accelerating very fast, mistakes like these are very easy to make. What makes this car so difficult to drive is how easy it is to misjudge it. While in the corners it feels like a bliss, when you have to slow down it feels like hell. With the braking distance being near double the one of the Porsche, slowing the speeds down from top speed requires a lot of patience and skill. And patience is a trait I don't seem to have, which is why I make a lot of mistakes driving this car. However, if driven correctly, this car is one of the most fun cars to drive, and has very similar performance to the Porsche GT3 RS. Which is why I ask you, the viewer, to comment which car you prefer most between these four.